Now, very quickly moving on to the Q&A, because I can see the questions coming up hard and fast. And the first one I'm going to redirect to Vibha. More of a macro question, Vibha, for you. Uh, I mean, do you foresee any form of specific government stimulus, uh, which is kind of expected being spoken about for the MSMEs or sectors as large? And Mukundan, please feel free to add in if you have any thoughts on this. Over to you, Vibha.
Yeah, I think that is the expectation. There's already a moratorium on loan payments for people who borrowed from banks. There's also a moratorium from the insurance sector where the policy holder now has 60 days more to pay his premiums on the policies that he's already bought. So some of that is already in play. However, the bigger pain is in terms of credit freeze and the fact that banks will just stop lending and continue to do so, like we are beginning to see today. So banks are not going to be crucified if they don't lend and don't show growth, but they might be crucified if a lot more of NPAs start happening. Unfortunate, but that's what we see. So yes, I think I would expect to see a lot more of fiscal stimulus. However, what is the form or shape and how deep is the pain, I think will determine that, as well as how much of fiscal deficit the government itself can overall. What are they staring at? What are their revenue sources, and what does that look like, right from the dividend they get from LIC, as well as from RBI, and the one-time dividend that they got from RBI, and so on. How are they balancing their books? But worldwide, this is not only an India problem. We saw Fed doing that, and other parts of the world also loosening their purse strings in terms of providing that injection to the economy. I would expect personally to see that. Right now, it seems to be a little bit sporadic, and that's always very harmful, especially in terms of jobs. And a lot of corporates have been pulled up for putting people on the bench or retrenchment and so on. It'll be good to have some level of clarity. Companies also need to survive while they need to be empathetic, but it could be that if belt tightening is not done, and a lot of my colleagues on this panel spoke about it, then the very existence, especially of a smaller company, would be at threat. So answers are not easy, and swift policy decision making just makes it a little bit clearer as to what is industry meant to follow.
Just to add to that, Deepak, what Vibha said, I think we've been telling the government they need to move swiftly. I think MSME is in real pain today. MSME sector needs support. Vulnerable sections need support. And we've been saying that at least 2 to 3% of the GDP, they need to sort of push that towards, and they need to monetize the fiscal deficit through RBI. There is no other way out of this because, many businesses have had zero revenue and they're going to have zero revenue for next 3-4 months and they have to survive. This will then blow out into NPA crisis at the other end. I think we need to save the banking system also. So this is not one single issue. The magnitude is big. I think most of us in large companies are committed to keeping our employees, but we put a pay freeze on. We have not done pay cuts, we've done pay freeze. And in fact, the pain will be higher at senior level, just like Vibha explained. But it's an issue which we are pushing hard with government. I hope the policy comes. I think they understand, but they're working their way through this.
Mukundan, I'm just going to take you further on this line. In your piece, you had mentioned that there are some sectors which could be at far greater risk. What, in your view, are those sectors that should be far more careful going through this path?
Deepak, the sectors are well known to us. You see, if you take a sector like airline, if you take a sector like hospitality, these are really, really vulnerable today. I think
Sorry, Mukundan, specifically related to manufacturing, MSME and those.
See, if you really want to get into MSME and manufacturing, I think those which are connected to these sectors, or let's say sectors which will go through longer pain, Real estate is in real pain. You've got automotive sector, which is in real pain. So those MSMEs will have problem. More importantly, when you pick an MSME, those with weak balance sheets are going to end up in serious trouble. So I think we need to say a combination of sector, which is an external factor, versus a balance sheet, which is an internal factor. See, all of us look at P&L. We never look at balance sheet. Balance sheet is the fitness. Fitness is as important as how well you're running. I think fitness come to test in these sort of times. I mean, if your balance sheet is weak. So I would say within every sector now you'll find weak spots which will have to be separated out. Unfortunately, it will happen.
Oh, thank you. I think that was very insightful, balance sheets. Gautam, quick one for you. And I think a lot of people are interested to hear whether you're going to get into the homes. How does the entertainment come home? OTT is the big conversation.
Yeah, but as I said, this is the big conversation, but I feel that we are currently, we believe that the out-of-home entertainment is not going anywhere. Yes, we are one of the industries which have zero revenue for over last 2 months, and that agony could sort of prolong for another month or so. But the fact of the matter is, what this time and opportunity is giving us is to completely redefine. There are certain parts of our service and experience is what we may be ready to vend out to consumers at their home, which is the F&B. So we're coming up with, say, a microwave popcorn options of saying the PVR popcorns could be ordered at home. And the F&B. There are a lot of other things that we are planning to do, for which unfortunately we need a little more time. We weren't sort of thinking on those directions. Thankfully, as I said, such times you are propelled into taking certain decisions and initiatives. We've already done that. This box office-less cinema is yet another experience. Thanks to this virus, we are saying we could eradicate box offices completely from our cinemas. So all in all, I think whether it's our people management, whether it's our hospitality standard, whether it's about our F&B, a lot of new thinking is happening. And I guess we shall emerge much smarter, if not stronger, to begin with. And I think we will learn along the way. There are things, you're absolutely right, and I don't want to give that feeling that things are going to be completely back on track exactly the way they were. But I think we may get a new answer, we may get a new learning, and this industry and category could completely change in the way we operate. So from that point of view, I think we still harp upon the fact that humans are designed in a manner to get out and socially interact. That is a very important need. And for that matter, we will continue to sort of redefine those spaces. And we are very confident that will bounce back very, very soon.
Thanks, Gautam. We seem to be running out of time. So one last question before I pass this back to Deepak Yadav. This question for Mukundan. The current topic is that of migration of labor going back, and a fair amount of concern before they kind of come back. What is your quick view on that one?
So I think broadly speaking, this is one issue we probably, all of us need to reflect deeply about. I think we probably didn't handle it well. We probably did not think through the issues well, and they're all coming to roost now. Even if they come back, for example, the experience in China, some of our units which have been, when workers from other regions come back, even in China, the places they were staying as tenants, the owners were not willing to allow them to stay there again because they were not sure about the health condition. So companies now really have to go deep and treat the contract workmen as well as we treat permanent workmen or temporary workmen. I think we need to look where they live, what are their conditions. I think companies will have to take more responsibility. It will come at a minor cost, but it's something which we need to do. I think it's been a lesson. We need to, we have probably caused a lot of panic in them, and it's going to create a lot of persuasion to get them back. See, the big issue, Deepak, is fear. I think we need to get the fear out of people. Vibha spoke about banks not lending. That is fear of lenders. Companies are not willing to borrow because there's a fear in borrower today. There's fear in consumer. There's a fear in labor. I think the fear has to go. Obviously, the fear will go once vaccine comes.